Did you know Nationwide is so much more than a great insurance company? They're one of America's largest financial services companies. Like how I'm more than just quarterback Peyton Manning, I'm also meditating Manning. For your insurance and financial needs, Nationwide is on your side.
Nationwide Investment Services Corporation, member FINRA, Columbus, Ohio.
Slay the night with best dressed Halloween costumes. From a little scary to way trendy to coordinated looks with your squad, Walmart's got you covered. Find the costumes you love right here at Walmart.
Listen in. Starbucks. It's a great day for coffee.
2 London games down, 1 to go. But can the Jags bounce back from their mauling by the Bears when they take to the turf at Wembley Stadium this Sunday? And speaking of maulings, how about those Detroit Lions? They certainly showed their teeth in Dallas this past weekend. Are they the best team in the NFC right now? Cowboys owner Jerry Jones probably enjoys hearing that as much as he enjoyed this appearance on local radio 105.3 The Fan this week.
This is not your job. Your job isn't to let me go over all the reasons that I did something and I'm sorry that I did it. That's not your job.
Well, my job is to ask
why.
why.
A job, or I'll get somebody else to ask these questions, man.
Jerry, we're trying to figure out why the team is.
I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. You're not going to figure out it's what the team is doing right or wrong. If you are, or any 5 or 10 like you, you need to come to this meeting I'm going to today. There are 32 teams here. You're geniuses.
Jerry,
okay. Y'all really think you're going to sit here with a microphone and tell me all of the things that I've done wrong and without going over the right?
Jerry not happy. Thankfully, we weren't backing the Cowboys on last week's show, although we did miss out on the Lions as well. There's a Super Bowl rematch to look forward to, though, as the Chiefs put their perfect, undefeated record on the line when they go to the Bay Area to take on the San Francisco 49ers this Sunday. As for the show, well, we return to winning ways in Week 6 as well. So what are we waiting for? Let's turn the page and look ahead to Week 7 in the NFL.
Graves on Gridiron with Richard Graves.
Hello, welcome along to the show. This is Graves on Gridiron. I am your host, Richard Graves, and what a week we've just witnessed in the NFL. The second of 3 straight games to be played in London, the second of back-to-back games played at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, as we witnessed the Chicago Bears with rookie quarterback Caleb Williams taking down the Jacksonville Jaguars. And what about those Detroit Lions? They took Big D to school in Dallas. The only downside of that win, of course, the rather gruesome-looking leg injury to star pass rusher Aiden Hutchinson. Our best wishes go out to him for a full and speedy recovery. No Kansas City Chiefs or Minnesota Vikings in action, so they maintain their perfect start to the season, and they will be back for Week 7 this coming weekend. What of the show? Well, of the 3 games we picked, that one in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium was first up on Sunday. The Chicago Bears to hit 23 points or more. They did that and then some. The Atlanta Falcons continue their dominance over their rivals in the NFC South as they also cover the spread against the Carolina Panthers. And it looked very much like we were on for a perfect clean sweep to go 3-0 against the line on Monday Night Football. But for kicker Greg Zuerlein, who I don't know what happened at halftime, but he came out in the third quarter and seemingly from there on in was no longer able to convert field goal opportunities. As a result, the Bills made the Jets and the show pay by snatching a 3-point win in New Jersey. It all means that on the season against the line, we have a 10-9 winning record. It is only slim at this stage, but it's still a winning record nonetheless. So the aim this week, obviously, is to improve on that. If you are new to the show, I will give you a quick resume of what we do. We look at the slate of games each week, pick 3 of them, and then look at the line set by the odds makers. I'll break down those matchups and then give you my thoughts on which way to go. This week is no different. And we will start in the UK with a third and final game in a 3-game series to be played in London. It is the Jacksonville Jaguars for the second straight year playing back-to-back games in the capital. This time they move to Wembley Stadium, where they will be the designated home team to take on the New England Patriots. There is simply no way of dressing this one up. It is a tough game to call because you have two teams extraordinarily short on confidence. One, of course, which right at the start of the season was expecting to be in playoff contention. The other, you always felt, was going to be in a rebuilding phase for this season. As a result, the New England Patriots are that team, and they've already turned to their rookie first-round pick quarterback, Drake May. This will undoubtedly be another step on a rather steep learning curve for him. Of course, the Jags themselves are very much used to playing at Wembley. They've been playing games at Wembley since way back in 2014. All too often for their liking, though, it has to be said. They've come to Wembley when results generally in the season haven't been going their way. This time is no different. They are 1-5 on the season. That's an identical record to this week's opponents, the New England Patriots. They will be hoping that they can take advantage of the inexperience they come up against on the other side of the field this Sunday. It's not like all's rosy in their garden either, though. Just one win in 11 games now. They were thrashed last weekend. No way of dressing it up. Thrashed by the Chicago Bears. We've already heard head coach Doug Peterson say, look, the players have to be accountable for their own mistakes on the field. We can only put the game plan in place and coach them up so much. The moment they cross that whitewash, it's up to them. Again, last Sunday, that was true. Drop catches in the end zone, mental errors, too many penalties in critical situations cost them dearly in that game. However, they'll also know if they are able to jump out into an early lead against this New England Patriots team, that will greatly increase the pressure on Drake May. Last weekend, we saw what happened when he started pressing against the Houston Texans. Houston ran away with a 41-21 win in Foxborough in the end. It wasn't even close, quite frankly. That same formula is what the Jacksonville Jaguars need to produce to get the win this Sunday and overcome their own mistakes, which, frankly, at times this season, they haven't been able to get out of their own way. They head into this matchup as 5.5-point favorites on the line. They've not won a single game by that margin in nearly a year. In fact, they've barely won a game in that period. Yet, I do think they get the opportunity to put points on the board this weekend. Regardless of the outcome, I expect them to do so in this game. You look at the spread laid out by the odds makers, 23.5 points is the line. I'm taking the Jags to score at least 24 in this game. Regardless of whichever way the result goes, we're going to see the Jacksonville Jaguars put points on the board. Take the Jags to score over 23.5 points in this game.
Graves on Gridiron.
Next up, we have an NFC East battle at MetLife Stadium. The Philadelphia Eagles traveling to New Jersey to take on the New York Giants. The Eagles with a 3-2 record. The Giants are 2-4. And I'm already looking at the total points line for this game. 43 is the line. You'd say that was fairly average for just any run-of-the-mill NFL encounter. But dig a bit deeper into the numbers and you'll see which way that tends to point you towards. It's a homecoming of sorts, this game, of course, for Saquon Barkley. He's the running back, remember, drafted by the New York Giants, but now dressing in the colors of the Philadelphia Eagles. Expect Philadelphia to try and feature him early and often in this game. It'll be no surprise to anyone that the Eagles go into it as favorites. On paper, frankly, they have the better roster. Man for man, they are the better team. But NFC East encounters rarely appear to be so straightforward, especially when it's these two teams that meet. The New York Giants have given the Eagles fits in recent years, and in this corresponding fixture last season, they were 27-10 winners over the Eagles. Look, that being said, the Giants haven't scored more than 21 points in a game this season prior to blocking a Seattle Seahawks field goal attempt late in the game a fortnight ago and returning it for a touchdown, a game which they won with 29 points scored on the board, I think it was. You suspect they're going to need more instances of good fortune of that nature if they're to reach that mark in this particular encounter. Last weekend, admittedly minus star wide receiver, their rookie Malik Neighbors, they were held to just 7 points total at home by the Cincinnati Bengals. Look, I get it. It's not like the Philadelphia Eagles have been blowing up scoreboards this season themselves. The opening weekend of the season, in fact, is the only time they've scored more than 21 points in a game this season. They have been riddled by injuries in their defense, but last weekend, even with both star wide receivers, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith back, they only reached 20 points against a pretty ordinary Cleveland Browns team. They have been missing star right tackle Lane Johnson for some time with concussion, but he's back. Jordan Mailata at left tackle, well, he's got a hamstring injury and he's going to miss an extended period of time whilst he recovers from that. So they do have a few issues on the offensive line, which does give you cause for concern because I think this has all the makings of a bruising, physical, attritional, knockdown, drag-out divisional battle. The Giants give up on average 20 points per game. The Eagles, 22. There have been 40 total points or more scored in a game involving the New York Giants just once this season. And frankly, there's no reason to think the scoreboard is going to be lit up on this one either. So I look at that line that I mentioned right at the top of this game preview. 43 total points for this game. Neither side lighting up scoreboards. Big Blue just aren't involved in high-scoring games. I'm going to take the under that. Total points is the mark for this encounter. Under 43 total points in this game. Okay, we have one more encounter to look forward to, and we're finally going to turn that spotlight on the resurgent Washington Commanders. That's coming up after these short messages.
Graves on Gridiron.
Slay the night with best dressed Halloween costumes. From a little scary to way trendy to coordinated looks with your squad, Walmart's got you covered. Find the costumes you love right here at Walmart.
Oh, it's such a clutch off-season pickup, Dave.
I was worried we'd bring back the same team.
I meant those blackout motorized shades.
Blinds.com made it crazy affordable to replace our old blinds.
Hard to install?
No, it's easy. I installed these and then got some for my mom. She talked to a design consultant for free and scheduled a professional measure and install.
Hall of Fame son.
They're the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings in the world.
Blinds.com is the GOAT.
Shop Blinds.com right now and get up to 45% off select styles. Rules and restrictions may apply.
You can save every day by shopping at Whole Foods Market. Seriously, don't just go for their big sales. They have literally thousands of low-priced goods with their house brand, 365 by Whole Foods Market. Wallet-happy prices, limited-time seasonal flavors, and all the quality you expect, like no high-fructose corn syrup or over 300 other ingredients banned from all the food they sell. There are so many ways to save at Whole Foods Market. Now you know.
Okay, welcome back to the show. 2 games down, 1 to go. On paper, you might look at it and say, what, Richard? The Panthers at the Commanders? Look, the Washington Commanders are long overdue some recognition because they have turned that ship around. At the outset of this season, these are 2 teams you might have looked at and put into the same rebuilding bracket. But the Commanders have laid waste to that theory. They've been outstanding this season so far. A young rookie quarterback, Jayden Daniels, has lit up the league. He's broken league records, not just for a rookie quarterback, but league records, period. He's been under the guidance of a new head coach in Dan Quinn. Remember, Dan Quinn, who eventually was relieved of his duties by Atlanta Falcons, spent several years as the defensive coordinator in Dallas, turned their defensive side of the ball around. Now he's gone to Washington and he's turning a franchise around. And his Commanders team go into week 7 in first place in the NFC East with a 4-2 record. They hold the league's #2 ranked scoring offense. They average 29.7 points per game. They have a top 5 rushing attack. They're ranked number 13 in passing. Whichever way you dress this up, it's a remarkable transformation for an organization whose fans have had to spend years suffering, watching really ordinary football at the bottom of the pile. Now, you contrast that with this week's opponents, the Carolina Panthers, a 1-5 record coming into this game. And yet a year ago, it was Carolina who were trading up in the NFL draft. it was Carolina who were taking a player that they hoped would be the face of their franchise. It was Carolina looking to the future with optimism. Well, since then, in the space of 18 months, they've already changed the head coach. Several weeks ago, they benched that young and up-and-coming number 1 overall pick quarterback Bryce Young in favor of a veteran in Andy Dalton. And a win in Las Vegas aside, it's not actually really changed anything with the Panthers. Their offense still ranks in the bottom 6 in scoring, a lick over 17 per game. Their defense is bottom 5 overall. It gives up more points per game than anyone else in the league this season. They are shipping, on average, 33.8 points per game. You frankly do not win games in the National Football League when you're giving up nearly 34 a game. And that's even if you have one of the best offenses in the league. It's just impossible to be competitive week in, week out when your defense is as leaky as theirs is. They may be relieved to see that they won't have to face one of the NFL's best defensive linemen this Sunday. Jonathan Allen for the Washington Commanders sustained a knee injury last weekend. He's gone for the season. But I'd be lying if I told you that anybody looks at this matchup and expects anything other than a Commanders home win. Washington pushed Baltimore all the way last Sunday on the road. Okay, they lost the game. But there's no reason to suspect their form's going to drop off as a result of that, and certainly not in this encounter. The Panthers can't stop shipping points. The Commanders have a quarterback who appears to be able to slice and dice up defenses for fun. Washington are going to light up the scoreboard here. Look at that line. 29.5 points is what the line says for the Washington Commanders. Over or under? Well, look, the Commanders, through 6 weeks, are pretty much averaging that per game, and the Panthers are shipping more than that per game. Washington are going to score. Take the over. Take Washington to score over 29.5 points in this game. So there are the 3 games that we're looking at going into Week 7. As I always say at this point in the show, remember, first and foremost, this is about enjoyment. It's about having fun. Bear that in mind if you want to get involved with any of the lines that the odds makers are setting going into these games in Week 7. But just to recap, we start off at Wembley Stadium. The Patriots and the Jags take the Jaguars to score at least 24 points in that game. Then it's an NFC East battle in New Jersey as the New York Giants host the Philadelphia Eagles. Don't expect this to be a high-scoring one. Take the under on total points, fewer than 43 total points combined in that one. And then we finish up in Washington as the Commanders host the beleaguered Carolina Panthers. Expect Jayden Daniels and the Commanders to light up the scoreboard. The line says 29.5 points. Take the over with the Washington Commanders. As always, love hearing from you guys via social media. On X, it's at Richard Graves 1. On Instagram, it's RDG Media UK. Equally, go to the website, www.rdgmedia.uk. Click on the Talking Sport tab, and there you will see NFL Week 7. Overcoming the odds, 3 games to watch. We break down all 3 games there that we spoke about on this week's show, so you can read about them in a little bit more detail as well. As always, enjoy it, folks. If your team's on a bye, well, if they got beaten handily last weekend, that might not be a bad thing. Equally, if you're a fan of the Vikings or the Kansas City Chiefs, you cannot wait to see them back in action, and they return this week in Week 7. That's it for now, folks. Have fun, and so long, everybody.
Subscribe to Graves on Gridiron wherever you listen to podcasts. And keep up to date with the latest on Twitter. Search for Richard Graves 1. That's Richard Graves, the number 1.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.